All right, let's look at our drawing here for the centering block. And I started a new English sheet and I changed it to a C size because a D is just way too big for what we're doing. And everything else is really too small. So we're working with a C size. And I've placed my three orthographic views along with my isometric. Now, I've already dimensioned this thing, but I got them, you know, I applied a white color to them so they're not quite so obvious to you. But you're going to want to do center lines. And this one, you can just do the center line bisector. That's fine. And for the two ends of the slot, you can just do the regular center mark. And then take one of them and drag that line down a little bit to extend it. Kind of get that same gap right there. That'll work. Now, because this is a slot, automated center lines will not work over here in the side view. Okay, so you have to physically draw the center line for, excuse me, for your slot. And here's the way to do that is I go to edit view. This is kind of a workaround, all right. I go display options and I turn on tangent edges. And that adds the hidden line right here, which is the tangent edge where the radius starts. Now I can draw a center line, and it may not hit, you're not going to get a snap on that. Oh, there we go, we got a snap, great. If you don't get a snap, see, it did a weird thing there. Anyway, go create. You may or may not get a center line, snap on the end. So if you don't, place it, create it, and then grab the handle until you get the snap. And check it on both ends, make sure you got the snap, okay? Now we go back and turn off tangent edges. So there's no hidden line underneath that center line. That's the best way to deal with slot center lines in your side view because automateds don't work. And of course you got one up there, that one's easy. Okay, now for the auxiliary views, this is kind of, because normally auxiliary views are easy in Inventor because we're dealing with, a single surface, but this is a weird shape, so it's not easy anymore. But we need two of them, one that shows the true angle of the planes, and then one we're going to use to get the sizes of those things. And so to get the angle of the planes, so we'll go place views, auxiliary view, and I'm going to work off of this view here, and I'm going to choose that line, and I'm going to drag it down to here. And you're just going to have to play with placing these things, get them kind of centered up. Okay. So there's got me a true view representation of that angle. And you can go ahead and dimension that. I've got it in white, but it's 120 degrees. All right. Now that if you, and you notice I pulled off of that line and pulled down, so it's working off of that line. Okay, so you remember back earlier where we were talking about true size and true shape in planes. This line and this line are true size in the front view because we're looking at them and they're parallel to our viewing plane. So those are true size. Okay, but the shape is not true shape, and we have to like make a auxiliary view and then another auxiliary view and then another one to get around to that. We got a whole bunch of views in here. So here's a workaround for you, and this is something you probably haven't run across. before. But we're going to go place views, follow along with me here, and we're going to go with a base view. And it does the regular kind of a thing there. But come over here to the view cube, and there's a little pull down arrow to the right side. And I'm going to choose custom view orientation. And then it jumps back to my model. And I can go, I want to go look at, I can choose it here, or I can choose it in the bar over to the side. And I want to click on that surface, and that, you know, selects that. And if your drawing was, you know, kind of wonky, and I go look at, it flips it to there. And then I go finish custom view, and I'm going to go OK, and I'm going to pull it down here to the side. Okay. And you notice I left it as a no hidden lines visible, because that would just really be confusing if I were to show hidden lines in this thing. Okay, now then, how do you check this stuff? So let's go to view and arrange. Oops. I should have closed that first. I like vertical tiles better. I think I can see them better. Now, what you can do is here in your model is you can measure these lines, and that will give you the true model measurement of these things. Oh, and I talked about setting your decimal precision in your document settings. So when you're doing measurement, you have to do it again. So you click on advanced settings and you change your precision here. Okay. So that's telling me it's 1.0576. So I'm going to come over here and go dimension, and I want to choose that line, and I'm going to pull it out. I'll change the colors here in just a moment. But on all of these, when you're dealing with these auxiliary views, you want to right click and make sure you've got aligned, and then for annotation plane, choose use sheet plane, and that will put your text as to something that you can see. Okay. All right. So let me change my dimension color back to black. Okay. Now, if you have to change your decimal precision on your drawing, we're not going to go 4 decimal places on everything. Okay, but the way you do that is outside of the dimension command, select a dimension, right click, go edit dimension style, and here's where you change your decimal precision for everything. And so I want to leave it up here for right now, and I suggest you do also, so that you can make sure you've got things dimensioned correctly. All right, and now then, but like I said, you can check it here. You can put an aligned dimension on this, and you'll see that it's 1.0576, okay? But if we dimension these other lines, aligned in sheet plane, and then let's come here and measure 1 inch and 1 inch, okay? And what we want to do is we want to go ahead and apply a few dimensions to these things, and we're going to make them reference dimensions, okay? Because they're just needed as a reference of what we're dealing with, okay? So let me come back to here. Aligned sheet plane. Okay, now then, we're not doing other auxiliary views in this drawing, but if you were to do other auxiliary views, and let's just say some other I don't know, some other type of project you're working on, and you want to check your sizes. That's what I'm doing by measuring it over here and then coming over here and applying a dimension to it. And that enables me to check and see, is my auxiliary view really true to shape? Okay. And for example, aligned. So in this view, that line and this line is going to be true to size. But if I were to dimension this one, it is also. So we got us a really good auxiliary view coming off of there. Okay, so I come from here. That was news to me because it didn't work that way before. I was trying all kinds of different things. So there's several different ways that you can get your auxiliary views. So I did that one and I pulled it up there. So that works pretty cool. Okay. What we want to do with this project, I'll put the particulars in Blackboard once I get them all kind of figured out, you know. But as we said, this 120 degrees is the critical dimension for making that shape. The dimension that we would have here can I get, that's just going to be weird. It's going to be a reference dimension. So it's going to go in parentheses. Okay. As would these if you do this view or if you do this view. Okay. Because they're not used to manufacture the part. They're just used to check the part. You can make it a reference dimension. You can make it in, it wouldn't really be an inspection dimension either. Come on. But I tell you what, though, this would be an inspection dimension. And what happens if we just leave it at none? Let's see. Nothing. Okay. Okay, so inspection dimensions are just that. When they create the part and they're doing quality control on it, that's what they're going to be. That's like saying this is the most critical dimension. Okay, so we'll apply an inspection dimension to that one, reference dimensions to some of the other things. And yeah, let's just for laughs and giggles, go ahead and apply both of these auxiliary views, just so that I'm not trying to duplicate your work, but so that you get a feel for two different ways of creating them. Because technically This is the secondary auxiliary. Okay. But sometimes you get weird shapes that are hard to get turned around in the correct order to where you can get a good auxiliary view. But go ahead and do both of those. And I think that's it. I'm pretty sure I got all my dimensions. Got my note there. Yep. Okay. So that's looking good. If you got questions, shoot me an email or come see us in the lab.